Hello, I'm Smoky957 and welcome to the start of a new playthrough as the Mojave Territories here in Old World Blues, a Fallout Overhaul mod for Hearts of Iron 4. In this episode, I am going to show you how to squash the resistance in the Mojave and start coring before Operation Sunburst even begins, and how to complete Operation Sunburst in what I think is the easiest way possible, and give you some tips on how to prepare for the first Battle of Hoover Dam. Now, yes, I know I've played Mojave Territories before, but frankly, looking back at those videos, they're not up to the standard I expect from myself now. And also, and just as importantly, I want to show how to create the state of Mojave. Now, to make sure that I get this right, I'm going to alter the game rules here to ensure that the editorial deadlock occurs, because I need the national focus, also national spirit crisis in California, to get this right. Okay, so here we are. Let's have a quick review of the Mojave Territories. So we start off with support from Shady Sands, which gives us a lot of lovely war support, manpower and attack. We have pacification, not emancipation, which gives us some negatives to garrison stability, research speed, etc. The Treaty of New Vegas, which is a set non-aggression pact and allows me to move my troops through New Vegas if I need to. The NCRCF convict labor, which lowers my population but increases my construction and infrastructure speed. And then the important one for now is Operation Sunburst preparation. This is going to be the key to taking out the Mojave Brotherhood, or sorry, Mojave chapter in this episode. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to be changing my garrison template to the militia, as it will give me higher resistance suppression per manpower, and I'm going to go from caravan guards up to wasteland pacification. This is what I recommend to squash resistance as quickly as possible. No real special decisions to point out except for the Mojave conflict itself, which will kick off in 460 days. I'm going to be starting an agency, just one operative for resistance suppression as well. My research, I always set one for industry, one for research, and the other two for military. And I always, close air support is so powerful in Old World Blues. I am going to be going for my CAS aircraft as fast as I possibly can, and then I'll research some other military tech along the way as well. For construction, I've just set up state by state, going from the highest amount of infrastructure down to the lowest, to set up some construction along the way for my territories. For production, you start off with basic weaponry and grenade rifles and rocket launchers, which is quite good. I've only added on the scout kit for the NCR Rangers that I have, but because I've changed my garrison law, I should lose 3 or 4 of these armed factories in a couple of days. Templates we start out with is a nice 20 width NCR Rangers. Previously this used to be half special forces, half standard infantry. It's now been changed to full special forces with anti-tank. Then we also have 20 width standard infantry Mojave trooper template, also with anti-tank. And then we have the militia unit, which I'm using for my resistance. So grenade rifles will not include any of my templates, but we'll take care of that quite quickly. And then you may have noticed I've only equipped one unit leader. That is because I will be choosing a different commanding officer and unit leader later on in this episode. So all that leaves us to do now is our first focus, which will be preparing the expedition. The NCR first marched east into the Mojave in 2271. When it destroyed the tribes surrounding Bull City, this is the story of greatness. Okay, marching forth from Baker. When 38 NCR citizens were slaughtered by raiders outside the Mojave town of Needles, the NCR Congress was quick to call for action. Then President Tibet was reluctant to commit troops to the area at a time when the NCR was already fighting costly wars in the north and west, but such an excuse fell on deaf ears in the Senate. Tibet lost a no-confidence vote soon thereafter and was replaced by Wendell Peterson, who soon ordered 3 battalions of NCR troopers to invade and pacify the area. In 2274, following the scouting by detachments of NCR Rangers and the discovery of the mostly intact Hoover Dam, the Mojave's expedition's mandate was vastly expanded to cover the entire area from Needles to New Vegas. Reinforced with 4 fresh battalions and supported by 2 Ranger divisions, General Oliver marched from Baker towards the Mojave outpost in March 2274 at the orders of the President to begin the pacification of the Mojave. The shape of the Mojave for decades to come. So I can either get 1 off-map civilian workshop, but I'm going to rather get the 10 army experience and 2 50% research bonuses for conventional warfare. So years of fighting in the southern Mojave had hardened all. And then next focus up is the Mojave raiders and thugs resisted the Republic for too long, and Nipton was the site of one of the greatest battles. And then before carry on, just to get rid of that over here, there's no template. Let me just change this. So still 20 width, but now with demolitions included. The Raiders of the Mojave. While NCR Rangers had scouted the Mojave wasteland in the years before General Oliver's march from Baker, they had done little more than provide an overview of key locations and factions to the general. Between the Mojave outpost and the Hoover Dam, there was a sum total of 0 friendly outposts, meaning that General Oliver had an uphill fight ahead of him if he wanted to establish clear supply lines to and from the dam. The first major settlement for General Oliver to seek to pacify was Nipton. Once a small community, Nipton thrived after the Great War as a refugee town and trader settlement. Specializing in drugs and prostitution, the town became a major hub for the fiends narcotics trade, with a healthy fiends garrison to boot. Naturally, it became the first military target for the Mojave expedition to contend with, and the tactics employed in the battle would influence later conflicts. So we can either have troopers search every house, which we must take compliance and remove a civilian workshop, or once the bulks of the fiends retreat to the town are safe. Now, I don't want to lose a civilian workshop so early in my playthrough, as my construction depends on it. Manpower I can replace and resistance I can squash, so I'll be taking this option. And then the next focus will be capturing the dam. The Rangers tried to seize Hoover Dam in 2274, but we were forced to deal with House for now. Powering the Mojave. When NCR Rangers first scouted the northern Mojave in 2273, they stumbled across a hulking concrete barrier stretching across the mighty Colorado. Unlike many of the river blockages in California, this wasn't caused by a crashed plane or an insane supermutant. This wall was created long before the Great War by an America in her prime. Fondly dubbed the Old World War by the Ranger team that found it, the wall turned out to be none other than the Great Hoover Dam, long presumed to be reduced to ash in the Great War. Instead, the dam stood in front of them in its full glory and without a crack along its surface. To the shock of the engineers, the NCS scrambled to take a look at it. The dam even turned on for them, producing power from 2 turbines with a dull buzz. It was truly a marvel. The discovery of Hoover Dam sent the NCR Congress into a frenzy. For decades, the NCR had struggled to provide power for even its major cities, let alone the countryside. Now, with the discovery of the Hoover Dam partially functional, the path to providing reliable and sustainable power to all of California was clear, if only they could get the other dam turbines working. Sure, they might have to send New Vegas 5% of the power they generated, but see, with some miscalculations, we can get an extra 5 power for ourselves. All we can say, there was a fair price to pay for peace. Now my stability is currently at 26, so I will be going for the extra stability, thank you very much. And then now I have lost 3 arms workshops because of my increased resistance suppression, so I've had to even everything out so I can keep everyone supplied. And also because of waste and pacification, I am starting to get short of infantry equipment, and this is only going to grow as time goes along. So I am going to, and this is the route I suggest you take if you are going waste and pacification, is I'm first going to go down this leg of the tree to get to the focus guns from home, as it will give me 400 units of infantry equipment, which by the time I get there I'll need very badly. So first of all, dealing with Capitol Hill. Most of the NCRs behind our expedition, but Senator Allgood and others question this as a pointless waste of lives and resources. We need to manage our home front carefully. So that'll take 30 days. And the followers of the apocalypse have arrived. Now, these aren't my favorite people because they lower my war support, but they are quite critical to forming the state of the Mojave, so I'm going to have to let them come, but I will not be giving them anything else except for escorting their caravans, as granting them bases removes production of scrap metal, which I don't want, and basically these are useless to me as well. So there, let's escort the caravans and carry on. Okay, we are now able to deal with Capitol Hill, and that has given us this decision bit here, which allows me to either using NCR dollars or political power, either outsource my research, or I can get manpower or infantry equipment and support equipment. I will be doing none of these, don't need it. Instead, I'm going to be going on with tending to the long 15. I'm going to be doing this first, as I'll be getting increased infrastructure, and that will help the buildings that I have go up quickly. So 10 to the long 15. We cannot leave our supply lines undefended. We must revitalize the pre-war road and make sure we are never cut off. Alright, my glider is finished researching. Now I'm going to skip the barrage balloons and go straight onto motorized flight, as I don't need it. I don't need barrage balloons to get the triplane attacker. And at this also, I have now unlocked an operative. I'm going to go for smooth talkers. Let's go for Benjamin over here. And what I recommend you do is set your operative to work here at Nipton. As you can see already, it has the highest amount of resistance. So set them to work there until we can get more caps to boost our research resistance defense option over here. Okay, I've reinforced my supply with 10 to the long 15, and I've also gotten 1 arms factory back. All the factories I'm going to get back, I'm going to start putting onto my grenade rifles, as I need to resupply my troops in the field quite quickly. The next focus I'm going to be taking is deploying fresh divisions. New California has over 700,000 citizens. That is plenty to subdue the Mojave with. So I'll get 2 trained and equipped divisions of Mojave troopers, which will arrive in Baker. Alright, I have banked up 100 political power, so I'm going to get my first change to my advisors, and the one I suggest you do to help lower the resistance is change from freedom of speech, which even though it gives you more political power gain, gives you increased 4% resistance. Change it to muzzled dissident, which will take it the other way by 4%, and this actually helps quite a lot in helping lower your resistance of your troops. And there's my fresh divisions, and now guns from back home. So local production in the Mojave is woefully lacking, and so the discrepancy must be made up with importing supplies from the Republic. We will get 600 units of infantry equipment, which, as I said, I am currently need 724, so 600 will come in very helpful. And these 2 units of infantry I'm going to add on to my 1st battalion, which is currently here on the western edge, and will help support my rangers in the upcoming Operation Sunburst. Okay, so we received 600 guns from back home. Now, although it might be tempting, don't take the first recon focus just yet. Instead, we're going to restore the 2nd turbine, which the Hoover Dam is damaged but repairable. Our chief engineer, Mike Lawson, is confident that with time he'll be able to bring more online with time and proper investment. Okay, cool. And then get an extra 20 power at Hoover Dam. So 600 guns is already coming useful, gone down to 172, and along with getting my 1st level of anti-partisan, I will now start to see a difference in my resistance. Alright, I've restored the 2nd turbine, so that is more power for the people. Next, I'm going to petition for the Militarization Act with massive military expansions. While massive military expansions are not technically beyond our remit, the Mojave outpost is technically still within the NCR. We should petition the NCR Congress for the Militarization Act, allowing us to bulk up military industry here. So I'll get another 2 arms workshops along the Long 15, which I desperately need for my grenade rifles. Alright, so the Militarization Act has been passed. I'll be getting 2 arms workshops quickly. Now, this is where I'm going to again stop this end of the tree, and I'm going to move on with the coming storm. We have heard of a new tribe to the east under a scarlet hammer. They worship a man called Kaiser. We fear that he will come for the Mojave, but how tough could a bunch of tribals be? We get another event. Now, up until now, I've got focusing on my resistance, but when it comes up to Operation Sunburst, which will be kicking off in 260 days, the key to winning is the Operation Sunburst preparation. This is what is going to, if you get this high enough, this is going to make the whole thing basically a piece of cake, and I'll be showing you how to get up to the maximum score of 25. Alright, that is my 2nd anti-partisan completed. I've banked up another 100 political power, and now I'm going to be getting, maybe you haven't thought I'd be doing this, but my Victoria flyers, so I can research my close air support quicker, and also when I get them they'll be better. At the same time, I've also banked up 99 command power points. Now, you could do this in steps as the command power became available, but I want to show it to you in one go. So first, my commanding officer is going to be James Sue, because he will be my leader of the state of Mojave later on. So for role-playing purposes, he will also be the commanding officer of the Mojave Army. So that means I need a unit leader. So for that, I'm going to go to my officers, and I think I will take let's just take Brigadier John Murby, so I'll promote him. And luckily, because you start off with baton-hardened soldiers, my new unit leaders start with +1 to attack and defense, so I'll be able to give him a skill straight away, and that will be the Mysterious Stranger. to boost his attack, infantry attack and defense. I did give Lieutenant Gorbitz the sniper one, which gives special ops attack and defense. Something to note, I've seen people ask, getting a special ops bonus does not affect your power armor, unfortunately, and of course vice versa. So if you want heavy armor, pain train, light special forces, sniper. That's what you need to choose to get bonuses for them. Okay, skirmishes with the Mojave Brotherhood of Steel. When you first came to the Mojave, we discovered a chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel carrying out technology raids across the wastelands. They were far from home and led by somewhat fanatical and unpredictable chapter leader Elijah. In the early days of our campaign, we clashed with them on numerous occasions, but both sides knew the Mojave chapter had neither the manpower nor equipment to contest our control of the majority of the Mojave. Instead, the Brotherhood took up residence on the site of Hidos 1, a pre-war solar array filled to the brim with the kind of ancient technology the Brotherhood obsess over. The unstable status quo that settled into the Mojave can't last forever, even if both sides would lose from a prolonged conflict. However, under political pressure from Shady Sands, we've begun military preparations for Operation Sunburst, a large-scale assault on Hilos 1 with the intent of securing it for the Republic and wiping the Brotherhood from the Mojave. Noticing our preparations, the Brotherhood have started preparing too for the inevitable conflict. The balance of power between our two nations can be seen from our preparations, which is this here, and also the national spirit. The more preparations we have over the Brotherhood, the more effective our troops will be. The relatively small scale of the operation means that every bit of preparation matters. So as I explained, this is what they're talking about, the preparation here, and we need to get as high as we can. The maximum is 25. I currently lead by 5, and I'll show you the route I'm going how best to get there. Now we have 3 choices. We can either get extra low resistance by 7.5. This intelligence is quite nice. I do not suggest moving Operation Sunburst forward, but for any playthrough of Mojave Territories, I recommend lowering your resistance, and then the next following steps will be quite important, as this will be increasing our preparation against Operation Sunburst. I strongly suggest going to secure the west first. I'll be showing you shortly why. Okay, I've secured the west, and I must apologize for not reading out the detail. Goodsprings and the road it sits on, stretching from the Mojave outpost to New Vegas, is vital to trade and military deployments in the region. We must ensure it is adequately defended, lest the Brotherhood strike us where it hurts. So Goodsprings get an extra piece of infrastructure, which is great, and 2 outposts, and our preparation goes up by 5. Now, the reason I had chosen this first is because now I can go for appoint military staff. We must ensure our military is built on solid foundations before we launch our assault on Hilos 1. Without adequate leadership, we will be ill prepared to face them down. So I'll get 100 political power and another 5 points of preparation. And the reason why I'm going for the 100 points of political power is because my resistance is all below 20, which is something you require to start coring, and my compliance is all in the low 90s. So by the time that focus is finished, I'll be able to start coring. Okay, focus complete, but I'm not going to be using this to appoint a military staff. Instead, let me do the focus protect Route 95. Route 95 is currently our only reliable road to transport supplies to the Mojave, to the Hoover Dam and Boulder City. Should it fall to the Brotherhood, these forces in the north would be cut off. We must not let this happen. So again, extra piece of infrastructure, 2 outposts, and more plus 5 to my preparation. I'm currently at 10, and 18th of October 2075, with 170 days still to go into Operation Sunburst kicks off, I can call Nipton at the cost of 60 political power. Now I just want to make something clear. You can just squash the resistance and leaving the coring of the states later. There are multiple chances in the different focus trees, but I prefer to core them manually earlier on, as it gives a very good boost to my economy as well as my manpower. Okay, so while I was protecting Route 95 in the last 30 days, I've also been able to core Vault 3 and Goodsprings, which means I have gained 5 arms workshops and more than doubled my population. So if you would like similar results with your resistance and coring of the Mojave, just follow the steps I laid out in the beginning half of this episode and you will have the same results. So now Protect Route 95 is finished. Now I want to do survey our enemy. We must not go blindly into our conflict with the Mojave Brotherhood. It is only through careful observation and calculation that we can determine where and when to strike our enemy hardest. We must expand our observation posts so the Brotherhood can be crushed once and for all, and our army intel will be increased by another 20% over the Mojave Brotherhood. Alright, so I'm surveying my enemy and I'm getting the extra 20% army intel. Now you can choose which one you want to do of these first. It's completely up to you. One gives you 500 manpower, another one gives you 200 units of basically anti-tank rifles. I'm going to go for tools of might steel because that's where my cursor is. It's no secret that power armor poses a great threat to our troopers. Most men possess far from the capability to pierce the layers of thick server-driven armor and kill the paladins underneath. We must deploy some of the weapons we found at Navarro so that at least a fraction of our divisions are able to effectively battle the Brotherhood Steel Knights. 200 units of 57mm gun M1. Won't be much of an issue anyways because we have rocket launchers already. Okay, I reckon this is a good time as any to just review the year I've had so far. So I have changed my press law to help me with my resistance. I have added on Victoria flies for my aircraft and CAS planes, cored 3 states, and then intelligence department is or intelligence agency, sorry, is basic but doing its job quite nicely. As for research, I have research warrior training and then the power armor frame, as well as I have boosted my land doctrine using the 2 bonuses I got from my focus tree. I have almost unlocked my close air support aircraft, and I've actually started snaking my research like this. Gives a nice balance of research speed and I'm always after the decryption of my enemy units. And I've also picked up the OSI, which means I get a small boost to research. So I've been using that. Next one I want to do is woodworking because my construction has been rather slow. I've only finished the 2 civilian factories here on the Long 15 so far. Production wise, I've only got 22 grenade rifles left, and I will have be up to date with changing my templates, and that is basically the year in review. Okay, so I've got the fancy tools to melt some steel. Now for some manpower, strength in numbers. We possess a key advantage over the Brotherhood, numbers. Even if we lose 8 men to their 1, we'll still be able to wipe them out through numbers alone. So it'll give me another 500 manpower. We'll add it on to the 3,200 I currently have waiting to be used. Okay, that was another focus done, another state chord. This time it was Route 95 over here, and I also produced my first unit of infantry, which means I am convinced I'm on top of my production, so I have changed things around slightly, added in squad automatic weapons and scrap bicycles. And then something I just want to explain is why I've zoomed in. Previously, in the older version of Old World Blues, there's only one way into the Mojave Brotherhood, and that was over here. I think it was with the last update they redid the terrain and they added in this little back door over here. And this I've always found is the easiest way in and out of this area here. And something I want to explain, the reason why I've put 6 units of just pure infantry over here and if my range is on the west, is I found that the AI looks at the number and pushes the most troops to that point of that front. So numbers wise, this east in edge seems to be the greater threat, but in reality my ranger units are here in the west and they have a much higher chance of breaking through against lesser numbers. But enough of that. I have 50 days to operation kicking off, and if you have followed my way of doing this focus tree now, you'll be at the same point. If you're going for State of Mojave like I am now, don't get major more, and even if you aren't doing a run like this, get major more after Operation Sunburst, because all these previous ones have given you 5 preparation. This last one here will give us the largest you can get, which is 10. So make our final preparations. Our inevitable assault on the Brotherhood is drawing ever closer, and so we must begin to make our final plans. So we get planning operation, which is division attack plus 5%, and planning speed plus 5% for 90 days. So that will cover from now, and then you'd be utilized for 40 days actually during Operation Sunburst. And here's the big one, will give me increase my preparation by 10 points, which will take me to the maximum allowed amount of 25. Okay, final preparations have been made. Now is the time to form the 1st Recon Battalion, as without it you actually won't be able to go further down the tree. There's another 30-day focus, and with 20 days to go into Operation Sunburst, you might be worried that I don't have enough troops or special forces, but I assure you I will, if everything goes to plan, I'll actually finish this conflict before that focus is even finished, because I now have 25% increased recovery rate, attack defense, 6.2% reinforce rate, extra 25% max planning and organization. This is what is going to carry me through, and touch wood, I'll be able to finish this off before 1st Recon is even formed. Operation Sunburst. Early this morning, the Mojave expedition of the New California Republic launched an offensive against the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel. Codenamed Operation Sunburst, the offensive comes after months of preparation and work by both sides. Despite enjoying numerical superiority, the Brotherhood expedition is outmatched in training and technology by the Brotherhood, meaning that the fight may be closer than either side would like. However, the outcome, the future of the Mojave, will be sculpted by the result. The Brotherhood is a threat to peace and democracy. Okay, it is time to see if I can make good on my boast. And don't worry, even though we are outnumbered at least 12 to 10, and at least 8 of those units are power armor, but with these bonuses here, hopefully this will be quick and painless. Okay, that's Helos 1 gone. So this factory's out now. Oh, they're coming behind me over there. Okay, field fortifications are done. I'll carry on with this just now. Okay. Okay. First recon is with us. So it did take slightly longer than I thought. Let's just get all this done. Everybody here into Hidden Valley, if you please. That's the siege of Hidden Valley done. After days of siege, relentless fighting, Hidden Valley has fallen. Mojave Territories was able to take Hidden Valley, though pockets of resistance still exist. The Mojave chapter shall be remembered in history books for its defense of Hidden Valley. Though fruitless in the end, they stood against giants. Fighting to the last man, it's unsure if this victory was truly a victory for the Mojave Territories. Was it worth the price that was paid in blood for this land? With Hidden Valley taken, they shall soon fall. And there we go. So I'm going to take everything. Seems I miscalculated slightly, and first recon was able to be formed in time. I'm going to make a few changes. Alright, my changes I've made. I have called Cottonwood Cove, started my new research, and I have moved the construction of my bunkers and outposts I want to build at Hoover Dam to the top of my list so they get done as fast as possible. And I'm sending 1st Battalion to Hoover Dam and 2nd Battalion to the border with the Divide. So that is resistance squashed. Coring showed you how to do that. I was able to take out the Mojave chapter in 14 days, and now my next focus will be an encouraging victory. Our defeat of the stuck-up Brotherhood bastards in the Mojave has been a great boost to our standing amongst the NCR's people and the government in Shady Sands. Needless to say, we can exploit this victory for more supplies. So our opinion and enthusiasm for our campaign improves significantly, and we get a very nice 5% boost to stability. Okay, so an encouraging victory is finished. The next one I'm going to be going for as a focus is Form the Heavy Corps. With the basic understanding of power armor we possess, we may be able to strip down the power armor recovered from Operation Sunburst and train our men to use it. Heavily armored assets will be invaluable against any primitive foe. So we'll get the 1st Division of NCR Heavy Corps, which will be called up in Baker. Now the reason I'm doing that focus before any others, and the way I've set up my troops, is the best way to prepare for the first Battle of Hoover Dam, whether you are on the west or on the east as Kaiser, is to put your 6 best troops on this borderline and the rest as far away as you dare. The way the AI works is it's a border conflict, which you'll see right towards the end of this episode, and it takes 6 units closest to this point. The leader, unfortunately, is basically always random, and that is what you fight the first Battle of Hoover Dam with. So I'll be having my first recon, 2 rangers, 2 normal infantry, and a unit of power armor defending Hoover Dam for that battle. Okay, so the Heavy Corps has been formed. I'm now going to be going for lessons from war. I want these 280% boosts to my land doctrine. Whilst we were ultimately successful in our war against the Mojave Brotherhood, sparked by Operation Sunburst, it has taught us some much needed lessons about our military tactics. We must adapt if we are to survive. Okay, so let's have a look at the units we got. Let me just add this onto 1st Battalion, so I have my best 6 there. As you see, I've added another unit for recruitment on to boost up my numbers as fast as I can. So 1st Reconnaissance, but is a 20th Special Forces with anti-tank, and I'm not sure where the support equipment comes in, but I need to supply it. And the NCR Heavy Corps is a 12.5 width, which isn't the best, but it's power armor, and it's got a power armor fire team with it as well. Now these 2 units you can't train, you can't edit, and if I remember correctly, you can't disband either. So you get these 2 units, you're stuck with them unless they get encircled and wiped out. Okay, I've learned some lessons from war. I'm going to hang on to these Lang Doctrine bonuses for a while till after the first Battle of Hoover Dam, and my next focus is going to be the bulls growing bellows. The legion swells like cancer across the east. We must be ready. So I get a 5% war support boost, which will take me over 50%, which is great, and army experience, which plus 20, which I will be putting to great use. Okay, so my bull focus is finished. Next, what I want to do is actually move down here to assemble the Mojave's Defense Committee. The Mojave, or its population strategic centers, at least now lie almost completely under our grasp. We now need to concern ourselves with keeping it that way. Enemies lie all around us, and there is some division within our ranks about how we should best prepare for future battles. And we'll get the event defending the Mojave. So I'm going to take this 25 combat experience, and I'm going to be altering some templates, which I will show you soon. Alright, the NCR has declared war on the Divide. Now this is, normally I don't get involved in the conflicts that the NCR gets itself involved in. I don't put my troops too far away from the Mojave, but this is right next door, and I really want a little bit more army experience if I can get it. Okay, let's not accept New Vegas. Okay, defending the Mojave. While the Mojave chapter may be defeated and we seem to be temporarily safe from foreign threats, a sense of unease still settles over Mojave Defense Committee. Formed of the most talented military minds the Mojave campaign has to offer, it offers advice for overall strategy to General Oliver, who has the final say in all military decisions within the Mojave. The committee has always quietly grumbled about Oliver overriding many of their recommendations in favor of bold, flashy, and prestigious offensives, but they are all loyal to the Republic and respect its chain of command. Following orders and disagreeing with them are very different things, however, and over recent months Ranger Chief Hallen has begun to voice his discontent at Oliver's tactics, arguing a more cautious approach would save lives, a view which is echoed by others on the committee. The two will surely have disagreements going forward, especially as war approaches once more. So unlocks the Mojave Defense Committee decision, which is over here, and we will have to take focuses to either support General Oliver or Chief Hanlon. In a normal Mojave's territory games to be much more important than what it is for forming the state of Mojave, but I do want to do the Old World Wall as I need it for some of these focuses later on, so I want to get it out the way now. The Old World Wall. The Old World Wall, the Hoover Dam. For centuries it has stood as a testament to American engineering prowess. It has produced power for close to a dozen generations of American families. However, it still possesses a critical flaw. It's appallingly indefensible. Whilst the original designers could be excused for not anticipating a battle fought on its concrete, their short-sightedness has become something of an issue for the Defense Committee. Decisions are needed. So event a coming storm. And let's carry on with conquering the divide. I'm just going to put these guys on aggressive so they can just branch out in every available direction, as we have flanked them quite nicely from the east here, and these victory points are almost completely undefended. There's hope for the capital taken. Notice it's not turning green because it's actually going to the NCR, not to us. Nice little encirclement here, some motorized. Let's see if we can actually get them straight into Mojave, Ashton now. Okay, improvised tools is done. I've got a little discrepancy of 1 scrap metal, so I want to do work camps for some research gain efficiency. And something I haven't mentioned is that I've actually finished coring the Mojave Territories. The only thing that's uncalled is the Mojave chapter area here. So that is gone very well and according to plan. You actually, oh well, might as well take all of them. We took 2, let's see who gets the 3rd one. I think I'm 3 for 3. There we go. I'm not going to get anything, so I'm not even going to bother. Just exit out there, and now I'm going to put the 2nd Battalion all the way down here on the south at Needles. Keep them as far away as I possibly can from Hoover Dam. Alright, the coming storm. A great conflict is coming. From the Mojave Defense Committee to the lowest NCR troopers, everybody knows that a mighty foe lies across the Colorado. Our camps across the Colorado have already clashed with this foe multiple times. It is only a matter of time before they are assaulted in force. Their objective will be without doubt the Hoover Dam. What better way to please a warlord than capturing one of the greatest man-made structures in America for him? We've long known that conflict will come to the Hoover Dam, but not the direction it would come from. Now we can start making a concrete plan for the defense of the dam from the Legion's hordes, and the Mojave Defense Committee is brimming with ideas on how to fight them off effectively. The 2 strongest voices, General Oliver and Chief Hanlon, have rallied supporters around their 2 contrasting ideas. General Oliver advocates for the total defense of the Hoover Dam, fortifying it significantly and funneling the Legion's overwhelming numbers into a narrow area. Chief Hanlon meanwhile believes the dam to be poorly defensible at best. Instead, he believes the real fight will be over at Boulder City, where the Legion could be tricked into an explosive trap. Both ideas have their strengths and weaknesses, but only one can be approved by the committee. As either the dam must hold, which supports General Oliver, or fortify Boulder City. I am going for the dam must hold, for it'll give me access to some focuses later on. Specifically here, if you go with Hanlon, you get family's diplomacy, and if you get Oliver, you can get to call up the 2nd draft, which is the one I want. Next focus I'm going to go for will be exploiting the Mojave's riches so I can get some more resources. Although mostly desert plains, the Mojave does possess treasures if you know where to look. And I was currently helping out with the divide, so I didn't show my new templates I've come up with. First one, Power Armor Division, a 20th with the fire team and demolitions, and I've thrown in some anti-tank because it basically tripled my piercing. And then an upgraded version of the Mojave Troopers I've named Mojave Infantry. 1 fire team, I've added on another demolitions for a total of 2, and to give it a bit of oomph, I've added in power armor support. Just pushes power armor up, but unfortunately the hardness still stays at 0 because I haven't put anything in here like enforcer armor, so I still take 100% of soft attack damage. I will still be recruiting the troopers until I have a good solid force to go up against the Legion, and then I'll be upgrading them as and where I can with the Mojave infantry to make them just a little bit more offensive. Okay, so I'm exploiting the Mojave's riches. My next focus is going to be to clear the I-40 because I need the 2 infrastructure. I'm going to be building my first naval dockyard there soon. While our campaign is primarily focused on the Northern Mojave and New Vegas, we must be sure not to forget about the Southern Mojave that lays between Baker and Needles, which, much like the Long 15 that leads from Baker to New Vegas, the I-40 remains largely clogged by the wrecks of pre-war cars and trucks. With some work, we would be able to clear the worst of the congestion from the route, making travel to the Needles significantly easier. Okay, I've cleared the I-40, so my next focus is going to be towards pacification, which will give me resistance to targets -5, damage to garrisons -5, but required garrisons +5. Not so much of an issue, just got 3 states of the old brotherhood to take care of. Our attempts to pacify the area around the Mojave will take us decades. Guess we may as well make a start. Well, I've already made a pretty good start already since everything's caught, but what can I say? Okay, so the NCR has declared war on the Rapids. After some thought, I have decided I'm going to get involved in this conflict, again, just for the army experience, for both my unit leaders, my troops, and for my army experience. And then also I have saved up 100 political power. Nothing to be called because everything's done. So I'm going to do some catching up on my advisors. Start off with the Chief Ranger. Do not take General Lee Oliver if you are going for the state of Mojave like I am, as he will be disappearing later on. So the safe bet will be just Hanlon. So I'll get some extra boost for my division organization in general, and then also for my Special Forces attack and defense. So 2077 has rolled around, so I think it's time for another quick year in review. Just added the 1 military advisor on. Intelligence agency haven't touched for research. I've actually been focusing the last year on just doing a couple of modules for my ships. We'll read that one now, and then research my barrage balloons, biplane fighters, busy with my carbine struts. No big change here in the construction tree, just carry on going. Same for my research tree, just snaking my way through. I've added 5 infantry units onto 2nd Battalion, who are having an okay time here down in the south, supporting the NCR. And then let's have a look at this Fiend's Resurgence. It looks like those weirdos across the Colorado River have slipped weapons to the Fiends, who are harassing our convoys again. I'm so sick of patrolling the Mojave. Almost makes me wish for a nuclear winter. So get resistance, but it shouldn't be that much of an issue because the area is cored. I've have increased my production quite significantly in the last year. I have basically doubled my arms factories, mainly through coring. And I have decided to go back down to recruiting 1 unit at a time, as my demand on demolitions equipment has increased significantly with adding demolitions into my templates. Alright, towards pacification is finished. My next focus is, you can take both, but I'm just going to take the one. That's all I need to carry on the focus I'm going for of Cottonwood Cove. So I'm going to reinforce Camp Searchlight. Shortly after the battle for Nipton, we established Camp Searchlight in the crossroad town bearing the same name. Not only does the camp give us a vantage point over Nipton and Novak, but it also allows us to keep an eye on the Colorado to our east. Expanding the camp will help ensure we can hold on to the region against any who may threaten us. So another 2 outposts, 1 infrastructure, and our control over the area or the state increases from minimal to loose, reducing the damage from hostile raids and local wildlife, and our supplies go up by 20%. Again, everything's cored, so that mainly affects people that have not decided to do coring manually and are decided to do it by the focus later on. Okay, so Camp Searchlight has been reinforced, so now I want to bulk up the Cottonwood port so I can get the naval dockyard, as I do want to build a little navy here, whilst the Long 15 acts as our main main trade route back to the NCR. We can also run small-scale supply missions up the Colorado from NCR outposts to the south. It wouldn't be ideal, but it may be useful in emergencies. And I must say I am actually regretting taking part in this war here on the rapids, as it is actually significantly damaging my production of military equipment. Okay, the rapids are almost defeated, and I've gotten my port in Cottonwood, so I'll start building my little navy shortly and going into detail in it in the next episode. For now, my focus is going to be revisiting the Treaty of New Vegas. While the Treaty of New Vegas pledged 95% of Hoover Dam's energy to the NCR, as well as military access for NCR troopers to most of New Vegas, the treaty was grudgingly compromised with a nation the NCR would much rather just annex it entirely. Sadly, the years of peace have only increased Mr. House's strength, while the NCR continues to flounder in the Mojave. If we are to one day rule the Mojave, we must have a plan. So we get the event tables are turning. So the tables are turning. When we first ventured into the Mojave, New Vegas lit up bright in the sky. Mr. House and his robots, eager to meet us, ventured forth from the walls of the city to our camps on Hoover Dam, telling tales of their golden city, the jewel of the Mojave. While House's Securitrons seemed fierce, they were few in number, and House's only other allies were ragtag groups of tribals that had become the families of New Vegas. It seems should the expedition want to, New Vegas could be relatively easily conquered. Certainly no more at cost than Operation Sunburst. The orders to conquer New Vegas never came, however. Instead, the Treaty of New Vegas was signed, guaranteeing New Vegas independence and 5% of the Hoover Dam's power output. The treaty made some sense. Faced with the Mojave Brotherhood, raider groups, and the growing Legion threat, the NCR simply couldn't afford another powerful enemy. The circumstances have changed ever so slightly. No longer is the Mojave Brotherhood much of a threat, and the immediate threat imposed by raider groups has been reduced, strengthening our position somewhat. Moreover, fresh divisions have joined the expedition. There is an agreement in the Mojave Defense Committee, championed by General Oliver, to continue our military build-up and by consequence dwarf House's power, dissuading him from ever attacking. Chief Handlin instead argues that we should look for allies amongst the families of New Vegas, possibly even leading to backing a pro-NCR coup in the city. Bringing New Vegas into the fold would be a huge victory, but also risk making enemies of a powerful foe. Okay, now you can take an eye for reasons I want to get the second draft. I'm going to go for General Oliver here, which is with numerical advantage we can dissuade any attack. But I'm not going to take it now. Instead, I'm going to go for the second campaign. In some ways, two battles need to be fought over the Mojave. The first to occupy the land, the second to win it. We may de facto have the Mojave under our ownership, but we are far from controlling swaths of it. The committee is divided about how best to combat this. And we get the event Conquest Bitter Aftermath. Finally the moment has arrived, and I'm glad my little conflict in the rapids is done, because we have a mustering across the dam. For some time we have had knowledge of some great power in the harsh wasteland east of the Colorado River. From traders arriving from Utah and Arizona, we even gleaned the area appears to be dominated by some batshit neo-Roman cultists who swear loyalty to their Kaiser and crucify those that oppose them. However, we have for a while thought little of them. They appear to be have few major cities to their name and mostly disregard modern technology in favor of more primitive melee equipment. Just another raider band it seemed. It appears recent events have forced us to reconsider that evaluation, however. Over the last few months, we've been spotting more and more scouts clad in similar armor appearing and disappearing. Last week, a division made camp within view of our patrols. Today, a company arrived with more seemingly on their way. Why are they here? Well, there's only one thing worth taking in the area, the Hoover Dam. We must prepare our defenses urgently. Alert all units, prepare to defend the dam. Now, thankfully for me, I have completed constructing 2 bunkers and I've added 3 outposts on. As I said, I have got my 6 best units manning the dam already. My rest are down here to the south. So shortly, the first Battle of Hoover Dam should kick off. Alright, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. So the 6 units I put at the dam are now involved in the border conflict, being led by General Oliver himself, it seems. Okay, the battle for Hoover Dam. The Hoover Dam, stretching across the mighty Colorado, has become the battleground between 2 vast forces today. On orders directly from Kaiser, the Malpas legate himself is leading a massive force of legionaries and tribal auxiliaries in an attempt to seize the so-called Old World Wall from the hands of the New California Republic, who have held it since 2274. Since the 2274 Treaty of New Vegas. The Legion, aided by superior numbers and fierce obedience to orders, seems to have the upper hand in the clash, but will need to carry any momentum it gains from breaking through at the dam to secure it from counterattack. If they should succeed, the Mojave and the lights of Vegas will lay open for the Kaiser to grab. Should they fail, the Malpas legate will find himself in a difficult spot, and the NCR will retain their hold on the Mojave for a little while longer. The savages will be repelled for the Republic. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so our divisions are better. It's 80 width, and we are filling it quite nicely. We also have the advantage of intelligence and the bunkers that are built. So this should not be hard at all. Or I can get another advisor, and I'm going to go for my future leader, James Sue. More organization, less supply consumption, and some more initiative. They'll do some good. This leader is random. Oliver normally seems to lead the fight. And yep, the Old World Wall holds. The Legion could not even cross the Colorado. How do they expect to reach Shady Sands if they can't even take this well-fortified, entrenched position with a clear field of fire? Ha! A mighty foe defeated for now. Okay, so we complete the focus victory at the dam. Another one. The Old World Wall holds. Cheers erupted today across the Republic as news broke that the Legion had been repelled in spectacular fashion from the Hoover Dam. For days, NCR troopers and rangers have bravely fought and died on the cold concrete surface of the gigantic structure, locked in an ever-changing conflict with the enemy more vicious, loyal, and organized than any we have faced before. The battle was closer than any would have liked, in part thanks to the legate commander that opposed us. Regardless, though, our defensive forethought and more sophisticated weaponry and tactics, we have been able to win the day. We've certainly dealt a blow to the Legion, but few in the Mojave have a doubt they will be back again in some form or another. We must keep a wary eye east. And that is that for this episode. As I promised, showing you how to take care of resistance in the Mojave and call even before Operation Sunburst starts. Showed For me, the easiest way took 14 days to conquer the Mojave chapter, and a nice successful defense of Hoover Dam as well. So if you enjoyed this episode and you would like to know when the next ones are coming out, please consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, goodbye.